Welcome to the Draft Board Hockey Show. My name is Mark, and I'm joined by my co-host, Link from New Wave Hockey. What's going on, buddy?
I'm good as always, honestly, but I'm even better now that we've got the prospect Don
Oh,
back on the
yeah.
show.
The
Look at this guy.
prospect Don is back in the house. New season, new attitude, new look. Anthony, how's it going, buddy? Just came back from Minnesota.
Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back home. My dogs are freaking out. I'm home. As famous as I am outside of this world, my dogs think I'm the greatest person ever, which
Absolutely.
hopefully continues. But things are good. I got to go see a ton of different prospects at the Curvers Prospect Showcase. That was pretty cool. It's a quick pit stop because I'm going to the Fall Classic in a couple days to go see some of the top USHL teams, the NTDP team, some pretty cool players there. So, home for a little bit, but going back on the road in a couple days.
I'm honestly shocked that you didn't go see Mason West play quarterback while you were over there in Minnesota. All right, that's your boy.
Yeah, I saw him. He was all over talking to everybody at the Curvers Prospect game on Saturday. He had just thrown for like 4 touchdowns the day before, and he wanted to come. He looks every bit of 6'7", even with the shoes. I think he was like 6'8". He's so athletic. I think he could play any sport he wanted. I really hope that he does choose to play hockey. But I mean, what I heard about his high school in Minnesota is it's like one of the biggest towns there is. So if you're
Edina is huge.
Yeah, and he's going to be he's a 3-star quarterback already. He's just only putting up incredible stats. They probably win a state championship, in my opinion, based on how he's playing. Like, teams aren't even coming close to beating them. So let's say they win a state championship. There's going to be some offers coming. Same with the Gruden interview that they just did with him. But if he stays in hockey, I think he's going to be an NHL player because of just the mammoth of a person he is. And like, people were enamored with him. People would go up to him and he would just like say hi, take pictures, sign autographs. Like, he's a star. So there's big plans for Mason West in the Blackhawks organization if he does choose to play hockey.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. He committed to hockey, so I'm assuming, you know what I mean, unless I heard that unless he's like a first rounder in the NFL draft, then he might have something to consider or whatever. I don't know how that really works. You Americans probably,
Right now
It's no CFL, all right? It's a lot harder to pick on a Super Bowl winning quarterback than a Grey Cup winning quarterback. But hey, what do I know?
That's why I'm asking you guys. That's why I'm asking you guys, eh?
Right now, he'd probably be like 6th, 7th round if he was drafted.
No,
it wouldn't even be close. It wouldn't be close.
He wouldn't get drafted.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't get drafted now, but let's say if he's going to Michigan State for hockey, but let's say he goes there and then does a tryout for the team or whatever, wins the starting job, he would still probably not be a 1st or 2nd round quarterback.
I'm not convinced. I think he's still a better center, so we better stick to center.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see.
Well, today's episode, what we are going to discuss is a very interesting prospect, and the prospect Don actually just interviewed this said player, and that is Ivar Stenberg. Yes, Frolunda. And they actually just had their first regular season on Saturday. Yep. We got Link with the jersey in the background there. And yeah, you know what? Listen, Ivar Stenberg right now in a lot of the public mock drafts has risen up to 2nd overall. Last year in his D-1 season in the J20, the junior league in Sweden, he had 53 points in 27 games. Now, you're saying, is that good? Absolutely. In their D-1 season, this is the best ever. 1.96 points per game, ahead of players like Leo Carlson, William Nylander, Anton Frondell. So yeah, you know what? The kid put up a clinic in his D-1 season, and he looked really good. I watched his first SHL game on Saturday there. Didn't look out of place. Got a little PP time. Had a point. Nice assist. Boys, what's your take?
Well, I'll respectfully ask Don if I can take the lead on this guy because I just posted a scouting report on Mr. Ivar Stenberg. And honestly, what's not to love with this guy? He's absolutely just a really emphatically great prospect. When you look at him, he just screams, offensive dynamic player. You're really just getting all the offense you want out of him. His passing game is unreal, and he's able to hang up there with the big boys too. He takes advantage of chances like right there in front of the net. I've really never seen him miss a chance because, again, he's playing on the third line. He doesn't get a lot of chances, but when he does, he's been able to bury them. So he's got a sneaky goal-scoring side to himself as well. The stick talent is really, really good. One of the things what I saw when I was up in Sweden, because I luckily had the privilege to see Gothenburg, the city, which is a great city, and then the amazing Frolunda HC team as well, where I got to see Ivar Stenberg. He was hanging with those guys. They played a pretty tough team over there, and I think they played Luleå with Michael Brunzig-Nygaard and Axel Palika. That was a tough team, and Ivar Stenberg was hanging with them. He really, really was. Very conservative in the SHL with his stick handling, but in the J20, he's brilliant with the stick. A lot of strengths in his game. Most of them are offensive. We'll talk about some of the drawbacks, but again, you're starting off with quite the canvas for this player. I really am a huge fan of Stenberg. I really have to make some tough decisions between him and Verhoff at 2 this year. It's close. It really is.
Well, so the thing about Stenberg is, whenever a player comes in like this, you kind of just like think number 1 pick potential leading into a season. But then you have the McKenna race, and I think that kind of just overshadows the type of prospect Stenberg is. But I don't think that it should. When you have a guy like this that just has that offensive skill set. I mean, when I talked to him, his player comp for himself and somebody modeled his game after was Tim Stützle. And I just really loved that comp because it's just like a guy that could carry your franchise in a way where he's your franchise player. So I really do like Ivar Stenberg, and I think that he probably is the number 2 prospect in the NHL draft at this point. But Verhoff is 6'4". He has an offensive potential as a right-handed defenseman, so the positional value goes to Verhoff. But just pure talent and kind of pure prospect, if you're just taking the positions out of it, and Ivar Stenberg is not a center, but you want to take that kind of guy. And I feel like he is going to just be like similar to Gavin McKenna this year, where he's playing in a league where it's going to kind of, he's not going to be able to put up like Bedard WHL type of numbers. He's going to actually be battle tested, similarly with McKenna going into the NCAA. So I really do like that because you saw what it did to Celebrini. He was just more battle ready, in my opinion. So I think Stenberg could make it to the NHL in like a year or 2 after his draft year. Like, I think that he is more NHL ready than some of these other guys. When I watch Stenberg too, I see a team that when he was not with Frolunda, they actually looked worse. I talked to Scott Wheeler about this exactly as well. When Anton Frondell was missing, it did not matter. It was just like, not to be, a hater on Anton Frondell, but
is a factory. Yeah, that's not being a hater at all.
No. So like it didn't like lower the impact of the team. Like, I seriously think that Stenberg was one of the best players on their team, and when he was gone, you were missing something. Similarly, when Matthew Schaefer was gone for Canada, and you saw that the breakout passes and defense was not as good at the Worlds, so it's just like, or international stage. So I feel like Stenberg is that guy that could lead a team in any sort of way and be your franchise guy, in my opinion. It's just like, where is he going to be drafted this year? I think he will be top 3 if like the season ended today, 100%, but there's a lot of season to play, and there's so many players in this class that it's just like kind of your cup of tea here. Like Vigo Bjork is one of those guys that had 74 points in 42 games and for Frolunda, and he might fall out of the top 10 just because of his size as well as the strength of the top 10. So you never really know who's going to go where at this point of the season.
Yeah, you know what? Now, the thing with Stenberg is that last year when he moved up to Frolunda and SHL, and then he played in the playoffs with them, and he had 6 points in 12 games. Now, in context, D-1 players in the SHL playoffs who have registered a point in the last, few years, well, Rasmus Dahlin and Victor Hedman. That's just those 3. So now the thing with Stenberg, though, is also he is a September 30th birth, which means that he missed last year's draft by about 2 weeks. So he's one of the oldest prospects in this game. And I think that might come into consideration when you're talking about second overall and you're talking about Keaton Verhoff, who is a June birth date, 08. So there's almost like, 9 months separating those two players. So if Verhoff has a really good season at the NCAA level playing for North Dakota, then, there could be it depends. Now, like I said, Stenberg, he puts up some amazing points in the SHL and runs into a nice playoffs, World Juniors, all that fun stuff. Then there's going to be some discussion. And it's early. You know what? It's very early. There could be some other players, prospects that can come into contention right now. But at this point, it seems like it's Keaton Verhoff and Ivar Stenberg for that second overall spot.
Yeah, and I'm extremely high on a guy like Tynan Lawrence, and I don't even think he's near the same tier as Stenberg is, just based on star potential. Like, I think Tynan Lawrence is an automatic top 6 center. I know Scott Wheeler agrees there too. That's what we were talking about. But the upside for star power, I think, heavily lies with Ivar Stenberg's side, as well as like Gavin McKenna and Keaton Verhoff. I think that there's just a tier gap there, as well as if you go down the line of Ryan Robrick and Belchick and some of these other guys, like there's a clear top 3 even with those guys right now. But like, Logan Hensler playing at the University of Wisconsin, right-handed defenseman, he was, I think, top 5. I think he was over Schaefer in some mock drafts coming into the season last year.
Most, actually. Yeah. I remember vividly people being like, Hensler is probably going to get the head start above Schaefer. So
yeah.
Also, another case that we have to talk about, again, like, not saying that they're in any way comparable at all, but like, again, everyone came into last year saying that Ivan Ryabkin was going to be the next Russian superstar, and then he kind of flamed out. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Ivar Stenberg, but look, anything can happen, and he has the requisite talent to really back up his game, and I am very confident that he's going to end the top 3. But look, anything can happen. There's a reason why we play the draft year season, but he looks very promising based on what he's showed us so far.
And I'll say this about Ryabkin, because it was kind of a big talking point during the draft of why he fell to 62 to the Hurricanes. Some of it was, there were interview concerns when he, like even for the draft, he didn't want to really talk without his translator, or, some news at the combine was there were a little character concerns in the USHL. He was a point per game player and he did everything that he had to, but he still fell to 62 for a reason. I don't think like everything that I've heard and talked to Ivar Stenberg, like he's a great person. He's determined. He lives and breathes puck. I think that, Ryabkin does as well, lives and breathes puck, but I think there's a little bit different reason why.
Absolutely. I know the whole, no, I'm just saying that is the case.
No, I totally understand. Yeah.
I have my criticisms of Ivar Stenberg, which we can kind of just get into right now if you'd like. First of all, he's fantastic offensively. He's been a really great player and stuff like that. Again, the skating is outstanding. That's something I didn't mention earlier. I'm going to have a highlight reel eventually of just him juking out opponents in the J20 and then internationally. It's legitimately about 19 minutes long. It's ridiculous. But once we move over to the defensive side of the puck, so there are some details missing. Obviously, he's in Frolunda, which is a very rigid system. They're going to teach him how to play defense, or he is going to play on the third line till he does learn how to play some defense. One thing I've noticed from him, which again is sometimes common with these offensively dynamic players, but it personally bugs me as somebody who could be looking at this guy as a top 3 pick. He seems to be allergic from the wall. He doesn't really go for rebounds or whatnot. He doesn't really engage in board play. He does have some nice pressures of defensemen, but again, there's a lot of details and there's a lot left that I'm desiring still from there, especially because he's got a pretty good frame to attack and stuff like that. He may be a winger, he may be 6 foot, but he should be at a point where he could be challenging somewhat physically at the SHL. But again, that's kind of where my criticisms lie. If he could just round out that two-way side of his game, then I'm just honking the horn, tooting the Stenberg at 2 horn.
Yeah, you know what? In terms of his stick handling, like you said, he is a magician with the puck, and he shows it more at the junior level. In the SHL, he's a little bit more reserved, and I think that maybe has to do with
That's a credit to him, honestly. The fact that you can be more mature, like at that higher level, and not be an idiot.
And I mean, and you also have to adapt to the systems, right? I mean, you're not going to walk into the SHL and try to, do it all on your own, which he, and sometimes that's another problem, that sometimes when he plays junior, he tries to do a little bit too much, I think, with the puck on his stick. And there are times when, again, simple plays, I say sometimes, like you can dig out one guy and then make a pass instead of trying to dig out three guys to get that perfect pass, right? So, there are some of those little tendencies, I guess you could say, that he needs to kind of clean up. But I mean, for the most part in the SHL, like watching his game on Saturday there, here's a clip here. This is a nice little pass on the power play. He definitely was, heads up more, definitely watching, looking for open lanes, I guess you could say, looking for those passing lanes. And you like to see that in a young player. What did he say to you, Anthony? Was there any things that he wanted to, that he thought that he need to improve upon? I know you always ask that of the young prospects when you interview them.
I think it was, so one thing that he was continuing to work on was just his skating, but he obviously is an incredible skater, but it's more like power skating. But I think most prospects always say that they're working on their skating because you can always go to the next level.
He does need to get faster. Again, like his stride is not perfect. So that's, again, that's a very valid thing for him to be saying. But hey,
he also but he wants to gain strength as well, gain more muscle to his frame, just bulk up a little bit more while also maintaining speed and try to, I think, just like work on his leg strength, his lower body, because like what he said was that he does want to beef up before he goes to the NHL and play into the SHL more games. I know he played in the SHL a little bit last year. I think it was like 25 games, had like 3 points or 4 points, but he knows that he can do a lot better with more just like experience. It's always like interesting playing against men, but he is going to continue to do so. I think that he also wants to just like, he was really good like off the puck. So whenever you're watching him skate, he looks like he's always trying to find the open space. He just has a knack for it. He kind of reminds me of like a wide receiver or like a gadget receiver, where he understands where to go at all times, but sometimes he's in his head a little bit and he's like looking for it too much. Like he wants to I think he should just continue to do so. And playing against adults, it's a little bit different, the spacing, but it's just like the smaller moves that he needs to make during puck battles. And like you said, between the boards, I think that's one of the things. He didn't say that specifically, but that's one of the things that he needs to do more. I know that there was a guy like Milton Gastrin. I think that he needs to watch him a little more, go straight into the middle of the ice, does not care if he's getting hit. He will make the play. I think that Stenberg needs to do a little bit more of that. But in terms of like building off of his weaknesses, it was more about like strengths. He wants to get a shot better too, slap shot. I think his vision is incredible. I think there was a lot of things that he wants to work on, but it's overall like not directly his overall the weaknesses. I think that he's just trying to make his strengths better as well. So he's one of those players that I think wants to get all around better. It wasn't really like the stuff that we were talking about earlier on his weaknesses.
So for those of you counting at home, that is the second time we've compared an NHL prospect in this draft class to an NHL or an NFL football player. So just keep counting at home. Keep counting at home. Oh,
yeah, we're going to keep that. And obviously it's coming from the other side. It's not coming from this side.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Clearly. No. And yeah. So again, I love hearing when you interview a player, like what he needs to work on. I'm like, oh yeah, dude, this guy knows exactly what he's doing wrong. He knows exactly where he needs to improve his game. And to be fair, this guy's 17. He turns 18 in 15 days from the time we're recording this. We're recording this literally on the cutoff date for NHL prospects for their draft years. He is old. He's not Austin Matthews old, but he's pretty old. Like he's got to really like kind of take advantage and almost like go the extra mile as an NHL prospect, because those Keaton Verhoff again, he's a July birthday, June birthday. Yeah. That's going to catch up with him sooner than later. That's going to be something that is going to be a major talking point. So he's got to always be kind of keep in mind that. But again, he's set himself up well. There was rumors last year that he was going to go to the NCAA, play for Boston University. I remember this clear as day last year. I was like, oh, wouldn't that be awesome? Because I selfishly am like, I want everyone to come to the NCAA because I love the NCAA. But he's staying in the 3rd or 4th best league in the world in the SHL, and he's going to get some really good development. And by goodness, we all know how good the development track record of Frolunda is, especially with their top picks. I mean, Lucas Raymond, Rasmus Dahlin, guys, the list goes on. He is in a great position. He's set up to do well. I'm rooting for the kid. So we'll see. I'm so excited to see his draft year. Like, again, he's just a guy that like you just really want to succeed. So first of all, the Don has not been filled in on this. So welcome, Prospect Don, to our new segment. Name that prospect. We want you to keep quiet on this one. All right. You may know this, but I want you to not spoil it for the viewers at home, because this is for our viewers, our commenters. We have selected another prospect, and we've been reading your comments. All right. I'm sorry that Brad Lambert was too easy for you guys. You guys are too good of sleuths. So I think I've picked out a moderately hard one for you guys this time. Moderately hard. All right. We'll see how this goes. But for draft year, I'm only going to give you that he was drafted in 2017. I didn't even give you a round. So there you go. But he was drafted from the USN TDP, played for Michigan, the University of Michigan. And the last hint that I will give you is that he's played for 2 teams, and none of them are the team that drafted him. If you think you know who this prospect is, comment down below, and we will give you a shout out. We'll do something. Eventually we'll get some prizes going with this, because again, we'll promise this, unless you have something, Mark. What's up?
No, nothing yet. But you know what? We forgot the last couple of episodes, Link. You know what we forgot to do? And we always enjoy it. And we had the Prospect Don help us out with these last time. And that is follower questions. The Prospect Don, you were in on it last season when we do follower questions. So in the comment section below, please ask us some questions. The Prospect Don, Link, whoever, ask us some stuff about the 2026 NHL draft class, and we will mention it on the next video. Put up the video. We're going to talk about it. We're going to drop your name. We're going to do it all. So that is what we need from you. Anthony, the Prospect Don, he is on the road again. When are you leaving for your next little trip to PA?
I'm going to leave the 17th, so I'm going to miss a game. Like, I'm going to go for the 7 p.m. Muskegon game, but I need to stay home and be by my dogs. I could leave tomorrow morning. I don't want to do that, though. So I'm going to leave 17th in the morning. I just got back, and it was a 7.5-hour drive because my car's an EV, and it's just so much worse to drive. I was getting chirped by the other media members from the Blackhawks, like, you need to sell your car. I was like, I know. I like it, though.
I'd be, dude, trust me, I'd be dreading a drive to Pittsburgh right now, too. Don't worry. It's not that great of a place. Sorry to all of our Pittsburgh viewers out there.
Oh, my God.
I'm from the other side of the state.
We're going to be in Cranberry, PA. That's a pretty nice place. It's a very nice place. Yeah. All right, everyone. That is it for this episode. Thank you, the Prospect Don. Go check him out on all social media, YouTube, all that good stuff. Link from New Wave Hockey, my co-host. And I guess we'll see you next week, everyone. Cheers.